What's up, y'all? I got a couple of things I'm going to talk about today. Probably be a little short, but I want to touch on, Bill Cosby's still a trending topic, and people are getting flack for supporting him, because people still believe they want to believe that he sat there and did whatever, even though they wasn't there, they wasn't in the bedroom. But I guess because of their own emotional trauma, it turns into believe all women type of thing. I saw a post about that. Believe all women is the equivalent of believing all men, and I know good and well all y'all that's saying believe all women are not going to sit there and believe all men. You can't believe every single body, because especially when there's a motive behind something, uh, there's money behind something. It loses validity. Anybody could sit there and come forth and go against a star or whatever. If they sit there and pay and don't sit there and think for 1 second that people can't be paid to sit there and do false testimonies. I mean, there's people in there's black brothers locked up right now, still locked up. Some cases have been overturned, but there are brothers who have been locked up innocent because of false testimonies, and those witnesses weren't even paid. They were just coerced. All the cops had to do was sit there and find some kind of weakness, especially if they found a witness that had some kind of record or whatever. So they would sit there and make some kind of deal. Well, we'll take this off if you sit there and help us with this. So they'll give some false testimony. So it has happened, and it's been documented. It's fact. So it's no different. It can't, there's no saying that it can't be any different for these women who came out against Bill Cosby. You know what I'm saying? and you know, not for nothing, but look at that last woman that came out, the one that was able to get that was the nail in the coffin for the case. Look at that last one that came out. Do you really think? I mean, come on. You really think he would drug? This guy is a star. He could sit there and be around all kinds of different women. You really think he would sit there and want to drug that? Seriously? I know I'm, I know I'm being bad now, but I mean, seriously though, seriously. But now, Stephanie Mills comes out in favor, I mean, in support of Felicia Rashad, who's been getting a lot of flack for her support of Bill, which I don't really understand. Like, she's a friend of Bill. She worked with Bill for years. For years, she worked with Bill. She should know Bill better than anybody. Those who are sitting there and judging don't even know him from a hole in the wall. All they know is what they hear in the media, and people are always willing to go over the media like it's just golden. Just because they call it news doesn't mean it's the truth. It's narratives that's always played. It's easy. There's easy ways to sit there and take parts truth and then still flip a narrative. So because there's slight truths in there, there's clips in there, and whatever the case may be, y'all believe it to be true. But there's plenty of times they flip the narrative. There's times where they can interview somebody. They can interview somebody, and that person will sit there and clearly articulate what they're trying to say. They could sit there and edit it, put pieces together, and flip a whole different narrative, and y'all sit there and believe it. So, like I said in my other video, I'm not here to sit there and say whether he did it or not. But I'm logical enough to sit there and say that I can't say he actually did. I'm logical enough to sit there and say that he's innocent until proven guilty. And a lot of these women's stories have been redacted. A lot of these women's stories have been retracted. So I mean, you're not looking into that. You just want so badly to believe that he did what he did. Why? And then let's look at the bigger picture, because I mean, it, you know, this is even bigger than Bill. Whatever he allegedly did is nothing compared to what goes on behind the scenes with a live Hollywood acts going on. You know, the get along, the go along, get along game. There's a lot of rituals that go with that. If you want to sit there and be down, you want to be famous, you want to be rich, you got to sit there and do this. You think that doesn't go on? You crazy. You crazy. You know what I'm saying? Corey Feldman years ago sat there and blew the lid off of the fact that there's pedophilia in Hollywood. There's a lot of crazy things that go on in Hollywood, a lot of crazy rituals that go on in Hollywood that, people succumb to because they want to be famous. They want that life. And then once they become famous, they want to keep that life. They get used to that life. It's like, they will lose their mind if they lose that lifestyle. They like the big house and the cars and be able to travel anywhere they want to go, and so on and so forth. I mean, and rightfully so, I guess. But you should never be that scared to lose that you sell your soul. So Bill Cosby didn't sell his soul, and they're attacking him. So and then Felicia Rashad just simply showed her support. She just simply show her support. What does that have to do with if she's doing a good job as a dean at Howard University? Her opinion about what's going on with her friend is irrelevant. See, that's the problem. You focus more on a person's opinion about things or their stance on things instead of how they actually do the work. That's why a lot of people are scared to talk out, even with regular jobs. Even if you're not famous, people are scared to sit there and put certain things on Facebook because they are afraid that their job is going to sit there and see it, and then they might end up losing their job. And it shouldn't be that way. You talk about freedom of speech. There is no freedom of speech. Because if that was, then you would be able to sit there and voice your political views without fearing that you're going to lose your job because you sit there and voice your political views. As long as it's not offensive and degrading to people, then what's the problem? She simply showed her support for Bill Cosby. You think he's a rapist? Fine. She doesn't. Difference of opinions has nothing to do with her doing her job. It's crazy. Now they get in as Stephanie Mills for showing her support to Felicia Rashad. Said Howard need to back down, and they do. They do. You know, we got to stop this narrative, and also we got to stop this, pandering for validation, because it's the pandering for validation that leads us to this, and it leads to the Sambos who are willing to sell their soul and sell their own people out for $1. I know that's easier said than done because you're always going to have some kind of Sambo. And the sad part is half the time they don't even realize they are, or maybe they don't even care. Stephen A. is definitely being exposed, but I found that out about him years ago. I felt that way about him years ago. So it's funny that is coming out now, and Kwame has exposed it, and he's continuing to prove Kwame right. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we have to sit there and support each other. I mean, some things we can't support each other on, because I mean, if you're doing that cooning, that sambo buck dancing whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna support you at all, and we should never support those kind of people. But if it's on another different level, we should support our own. You know what I'm saying? Unless there's clear cut evidence that this is what goes on. But I mean, come on, this I don't even know why this was even a trial. These women sit there and claim he did this stuff in the 80s, 90s, 70s. Come on, man. Come on. And then how many stars was part of the casting couch? I remember it now. I remembered it after the last video. I just didn't put it in, but now I remember what it's called, the casting couch. What about that? You want to attack Bill? Attack everybody. There's proof that they did it. Where's the proof of Bill? These are alleged stories. There's really no backing behind it. It's just he got convicted over sheer testimony that a white person, a white counterpart, would never get convicted over. Not sheer testimony. Maybe they might have to step down, but like I explained in my other video, they probably got a severance package for that. So yeah, I'll step down as long as you sit there and give me a nice little severance package, and it includes stocks and bonds or whatever the severance package includes. Yeah, I don't care. I still got my sanity. I still get to walk around roam free. I still got money. I don't care. You take the realm. So that I was sitting there, getting stressed from that anyway. Give me more free time. That's how they look at it. But he had to sit there and suffer in jail at his age. He's getting older, and naturally, as you get older, you're getting a little more frail. A person like him doesn't need to be in no freaking jail cell. And now you wanna crucify a woman because she sat there and showed support. That's ridiculous. So I don't want to speak on that. And I also want to speak on Sha, Sha, forgive me, Sha'Carri Richardson. Um, Now that story in itself is ridiculous. I don't follow Olympics. I've never watched Olympics. Um, it never really interests me. Um, I think it's another form of people being patriotic, USA type of thing, and I just never been that way. Even before I was on a pro black stance, I still was never patriotic. I find it very difficult to be patriotic for a country that could care less about you, and I find it funny when I bump into old heads, old black veterans who are so proud of being a veteran, and they was a veteran. They was serving in a time when they had no choice. They was drafted, and then when they came back to America, they still was treated like crap. They still treated like shit, but yet they still so proud to be a veteran. That I don't know. I don't know if that's part of the brainwashing or what. But to me, it's really sad. It's really sad. But the whole thing with Sha'Carri Richardson, now they disqualifying her, excuse me, for smoking weed. Last time I checked, weed wasn't a stimulant. Weed wasn't steroids. Weed is not giving her any kind of advantage in competing. If anything, it would probably give her a slight disadvantage because it does make you a little drowsy or whatever. I don't think athletic wise, uh, it's really wise to sit there and smoke weed, and that probably was in her system from before she even performed, because it stays in your system for a little bit, and from my understanding of the story, she's been having a hard time with with her mom and family issues and things like that. So I mean, maybe that's what drove her to smoke. But you have other instances where I believe Michael Phelps sat there and tested positive for some drug, and he wasn't disqualified. You know, um, there's a trans that's competing for women, and they're not really a woman. People are not gonna like what I'm about to say. You know, and this always touchy. Everything with the LGBTQIA whatever is always touchy. But at the end of the day, when you're trans, you can call yourself a woman all you freaking want. You was born a male, you still had the same testosterone in you, or what have you. You're just shooting yourself with estrogen. You're still a man. You still sit there and have an advantage over other women. You shouldn't be competing with women. Pure point blank. I don't care how you identify yourself. I can identify myself as an alien. Does that make me an alien? Or I can shoot hormones in me and turn myself into an alien for what? Why? Why? I don't understand that. And I don't understand, wanting people to accept you when you didn't even accept yourself. It really is that deep. But I'm not going to sit there and touch too much on that because we already know how that goes. And, but why are you stopping her from competing? Why? She smoked weed. So what? And then another point is, where she resides at is one of the legal states. So what? What is the purpose? Just to block her from doing the Olympics because she excelled? I mean, I'm gonna pull the race card, right? You know, if she was white, would the same results happen? I think we know the answer to that. And by the way, there is no such thing as a freaking race card. That's something that white people actually made up to counteract what we're saying. There is no freaking race card. We don't pull a race card. And if anything, race is a social construct that y'all made. Y'all made that social construct. But then y'all want to sit there and talk about a race card. So if anybody, if we are pulling a race card, y'all made it. Y'all made the race card. Y'all manufactured it. It's not a race car because it's a proven fact. It's documented. There's been many studies on it, the disparities between blacks and whites. It's well documented and it's well seen. It's not a race car. So anybody wants to sit there and talk that race car talk, you're just talking little Fox News talking points. I don't even know. The fact that Fox News has such high ratings really shows where this country is at. It shows the depth of this country. Because Fox News is not even real media. They'll sit there and say anything to spew out their narrative. Anything, literally. Tucker Carlson has been contradicting himself for a long time, and he's been called out for it many times. Bill O'Reilly used to sit there and say all kinds of crazy stupidness out of his mouth. But y'all think it's golden though, and all the rest of the media, the liberal media, is they full of crap and it's fake news, right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But yeah, I wanted to speak on these subjects, and one more thing. I'm gonna sit there and say this again. Leave the kids alone. When it comes to this wanting to be accepted, leave the kids alone. Your sexuality has nothing to do with them. They shouldn't even know about it. That's your bedroom talk. Bedroom talk should stay in the bedroom. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Peace.